When you think of Genghis Khan, you probably imagine endless horsemen, burning cities, and rivers of blood. And yes, the Mongols were feared conquerors. But history often misses the real secret behind their power. Genghis Khan didn't just build his empire with war. He built it with trade. The Silk Road, the massive network connecting China, the Middle East, and Europe, became the true engine of Mongol power. Genghis understood something most rulers never did. Armies can conquer land, but only trade can control it. Before we continue, if you enjoy stories about money, power, and hidden history, like this video and subscribe to Wealthime Archive. The Silk Road was never just one road. It was a vast system of routes carrying silk, spices, precious metals, paper, and ideas across thousands of miles. But for centuries, it barely worked. Trade routes were dangerous. Bandits attacked caravans. Local rulers imposed heavy taxes. Wars constantly disrupted travel. For merchants, long-distance trade was risky, expensive, and unreliable. Then everything changed in the early 12th century. When the Mongols expanded across Asia, Genghis Khan didn't just destroy cities, he connected them. By uniting territory from China to Persia under one authority, he created something the world had never seen before: a secure continental trade system. This wasn't accidental, it was strategy. Genghis Khan understood merchants better than kings did. He knew merchants feared uncertainty more than high taxes, so he offered them something revolutionary: protection. Caravans traveling under Mongol rule were guarded by soldiers. They were protected from bandits. Unfair tolls were removed. In return, merchants paid taxes directly to the empire. The Mongols enforced this system ruthlessly. Bandits were hunted down. Officials who tried to steal from traders were executed. For the first time in history, a massive trade network wasn't just open, it was safe. The impact was explosive.
Silk, paper, and porcelain flowed west from China. Silver, glass, and textiles moved east from Persia and Europe. Spices from India reached markets thousands of miles away. The Mongol Empire turned the Silk Road into the world's first truly global marketplace. Trade taxes became a steady source of income, far more reliable than looting cities. War made Genghis Khan rich once. Trade made his empire rich forever. This is where his real genius appears. Genghis Khan wasn't just a conqueror, he was an economic strategist. Historians call this era the Pax Mongolica, a long period of relative peace across Eurasia. For the first time, a merchant could travel from Europe to China under one system of protection. Marco Polo's famous journey only happened because the Mongols made it possible. In a brutal paradox, the most feared warriors of the Middle Ages created the safest roads of their time. But trade wasn't only about goods, it was about systems. The Mongols standardized weights and measures. They built relay stations along trade routes where travelers could rest, change horses, and send messages. Information moved faster. Commerce became predictable. This wasn't chaos, it was financial engineering. But the Silk Road was also a weakness. Trade connects wealth and risk. Alongside silk and silver, the Silk Road carried disease. In the 14th century, the Black Death traveled these same routes, killing millions across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. The network that made the Mongols powerful also helped spread collapse. After Genghis Khan's death in 1227, the empire fragmented politically, but economically, his vision survived. His successors doubled down on trade. They expanded relay networks known as yam stations, placed every few dozen miles. Couriers could travel hundreds of miles per day, unimaginable at the time. These stations weren't just about speed, they were about control. Merchants registered at stops. Movement was tracked. Taxes were collected efficiently. It was medieval supply chain management enforced by steel. The Mongols also experimented with money. In China, under Kublai Khan, paper currency was expanded and enforced as legal tender. At first, it worked. Trade increased. Transport became easier. But overprinting destroyed trust. Inflation rose. Confidence collapsed. The lesson was timeless. Money only works when people believe in it. Elsewhere, the Mongols showed another kind of intelligence. They empowered foreign merchant groups, especially Muslim traders from Central Asia, to manage commerce. These merchants received protection and tax benefits in exchange for loyalty. The Mongols didn't trust old elites. They trusted results. It was outsourced capitalism, centuries before the term existed. Under Mongol rule, banditry almost disappeared. Chroniclers wrote that a person could walk across the empire with gold and remain unharmed. Not because the Mongols were kind, but because punishment was absolute. Fear created stability. Stability created wealth. Cities like Samarkand and Bukhara flourished as trade hubs. Markets filled with goods from every civilization. East met West directly. But no empire escapes its contradictions. When plague disrupted trade, the system collapsed. Caravans stopped. Revenue dried up. The glue holding the empire together cracked. Yet the legacy remained. The Mongols proved something powerful. Control of trade routes can matter more than control of armies. That idea shaped history. When later empires taxed trade routes too heavily, Europeans searched for alternatives, triggering the age of exploration. Columbus didn't sail for glory, he sailed for trade. In that sense, Genghis Khan's empire never truly ended. It globalized. Today's supply chains are modern Silk Roads. Oil, data, food, and money move through fragile networks. Governments protect shipping lanes just like Mongols protected caravans. And when those chains break, pandemics, wars, inflation, the system shakes. The lesson is clear. Trade creates power, but trust sustains it. Empires rise not just on conquest, but on the invisible flows of money and confidence. Break those flows, and even the strongest system falls. If this story helped you see history differently, like the video and subscribe to Wealthime Archive. History has the answers if you know where to look.